Good evening. My name is Pat Daly, and I'm the Director of the Halton Catholic District School Board. I'd like to welcome you to our inaugural meeting for the new term of office. I invite Father Con O'Mahony, the Vicar for Education of our diocese, pastor of St. Andrew Parish, to lead us in prayer.
Let us bow our heads and pray. God, our Savior, you utter a word of promise and hope and hasten the day of justice and freedom. Yet we live in a world forgetful of your word, our watchfulness dulled by the cares of life. Keep us alert. Make us attentive to your word, ready to look on your Son when he comes with power and great glory. Make us holy and blameless, ready to stand secure when the day of his coming shakes the world. We ask this through him whose coming is certain, whose day draws near, your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen.
Father Con, His Honor Mr. Justice Joseph Regamain, Mayor Gordon Krantz, Mayor of the Town of Milton, trustees-elect, student trustees, members of the Halton Catholic District School Board community, Reverend Fathers, special invited guests, and family and friends who have come to join us. It's very much a privilege for me to welcome you to our board's inaugural meeting for the new term of office. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge and sincerely thank Gregory Lee Wu, the talented Jean Vanier student musician who played during the entry procession, and as well the Jean Vanier Catholic Secondary School Choir, under the direction of Karen Caruana Darling, who provided the liturgical music for our inaugural board meeting mass. It's my pleasure to invite Karen Caruana Darling to lead the Jean Vanier Catholic Secondary School Choir as they sing the national anthem. I ask you to stand and remain standing for the recitation of the oath of citizenship. I ask our trustees-elect to join me in the oath of citizenship. I affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen. Please be seated. As Secretary of the Board, it is my responsibility to report for the minutes that each municipal clerk has officially posted that our trustees-elect of the respective municipalities have been duly elected. I now invite Father Kahn to offer his remarks to the trustees-elect. Following his remarks, Father Kahn will lead the trustees and student trustees in the commissioning service and conclude with the blessing and distribution of Bibles, which will be used by each trustee and student trustee in the declaration of office and oath of allegiance ceremony. Father Kahn.
Thank you. Trustees, I bring greetings from Bishop Crosby, the Bishop of the Diocese of Hamilton, who unfortunately could not be here this evening. There are only two of us spread out over 6 school boards in the diocese, and unfortunately you got me, and the bishop is elsewhere. He looks forward to meeting you in February at his home, and an invitation to that meeting you will receive within the next few days. As I mentioned in my homily, a very important document was published in the province of Ontario with regard to Catholic education in renewing the promise. This is a document that is a document in a series of documents. But what sets this document apart, as I mentioned in my homily, was the number of voices that were heard in the compilation of the ideas and the vision and the hopes and the dreams for Catholic education in the province of Ontario for our present needs and for our future needs. A number of us were attending a meeting recently, including the Halton Catholic District School Board, where we heard that as far away as England, the English bishops are asking how such a document in this time could be written. So when a document such as this is noticed from afar and people are asking detailed questions about it, we know that we're on to something very, very important. And as I also mentioned earlier, there are 2 pillars, I believe, to this document. The first is the document is built around the story of the road to Emmaus from the Gospel of Luke, which is the Gospel for this year, this coming year. And it is a very important story that we're familiar with, and yet the deeper we dive into the text, the more we realize how little we know about the story. And so at the beginning this evening, as we celebrate this great event of your service, your gift of service to the community, I do encourage you to make that document a document that you will refer to often and to use wisely and well in your work. I would ask you to please stand for the commissioning service. My dear trustees, Jesus Christ is the light of the world and faithful witness of God's unbounded love. He has come to be in relationship with us as brothers and sisters of the Lord. We are the people of God, the church, called through baptism to work with him in bringing his light to all. As Catholic trustees and student trustees, you have been chosen by your friends and fellow students to stand up in their name for the truth of Christ. Those who have chosen you see your gifts of responsibility and good judgment. With the blessing of the church, we trust in your ability and desire to work for a successful education in our province and to inspire peace and harmony in the school system and community. And now I invite you to please repeat this pledge after me. As a Catholic school trustee or student trustee in Ontario, I promise to give Christian example every day. In all that I do and say. I pledge to work with others for the good of the youth entrusted to our schools. And to lead them in the light of Jesus Christ. I invite you to bow your heads and we ask God's blessing upon you. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe. You have chosen us in Jesus to be the people of light. Send your Spirit into the hearts of these trustees, and let us share your love and light with them. Bless these men and women in their work for your people, and guide them always in your ways. Blessed are you, Lord our God, forever and ever. Amen. And it is appropriate that at the beginning of your term, that you should receive the Bible. I now invite you to please come forward. Janet, Brenda, Tim, Brian, and William Charlotte. Patrick Murphy, Peter Douglas. Stephanie Hansa and Marvin Duarte. Helena Carmel and Nancy Crusoe. Vincent Injmasi and Benzo Rao.
Thank you, Father Carl. Each trustee is obliged through the Education Act to make a declaration of office and to take an oath of allegiance before the Secretary of the Board or before a person so authorized. On this special occasion, the Honorable Mr. Justice Joseph Fragamini of the Superior Court of Justice, Central West Region, has graciously consented to administer collectively to trustees and student trustees the oath of allegiance and the declaration of office. Trustees and student trustees are invited to hold the Bible in one hand while declaring an oath of allegiance and declaration of office led by Mr. Justice Fragamini.
Thank you. You all stand. Before we begin, I just want to thank you again for inviting me to this very special occasion. I'm honored and privileged to participate in this very important and special evening. I'm going to invite all of you to repeat this declaration of office and oath of allegiance after me. We'll start with the declaration as follows. I, and state your name, do solemnly declare that I am not disqualified under any act from being a member of the Halton Catholic School, the Catholic District School Board. I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability execute the office of trustee, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or malversation or other undue execution of the said office, and that I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, as required by and in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. That was declared before me at Milton, in the province of Ontario, District of Halton, this 4th day of December 2018. I now invite you to state the oath of allegiance. I, and state your name, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. All sworn before me at Milton, the province of Ontario, District of Halton, this 4th day of December 2018. Congratulations,
I'd ask that each trustee sign the oath of allegiance and declaration of office. I'll collect them, and then they can be witnessed by the Honorable Mr. Justice. As Secretary of the Board, it's now my pleasant duty to declare that the Board is legally constituted as a corporate body with ensuing authority under the Education Act. As Chief Executive Officer of the Board, I want to offer my personal congratulations to our trustees and assure them of my personal commitment, as well as that of our senior staff, to support and work collectively with trustees in carrying out your role to provide the best possible Catholic education to all students under the jurisdiction of the Board. I'm confident that through collaborative efforts, our Catholic school system will successfully pursue its distinctive mission as a faith-based, publicly funded educational system that responds to the needs of its students and school communities. Congratulations. We will now proceed with the election of the Chair of the Board for the period of December 4th, 2018 until the first Board meeting in December 2019. Should a vote by secret ballot become necessary this evening, I would ask our student trustees to act as scrutineers while Superintendent Godoy and myself tabulate the ballots. According to our Board bylaws, a nomination motion for the position of Chair of the Board must be duly moved and seconded and received by the Secretary of the Board. I will now ask for nominations to come forward.
I would like to nominate Peter DeRosa for the position of Chair.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
nomination for Peter DeRosa as chair from Janet O'Hearn Zarnata, seconded by Brenda Agnew. Does trustee DeRosa accept the nomination? Are there any other nominations for the position of chair of the board? And finally, a third time, are there any nominations for the position of chair of the board? Seeing no further nominations, may I request a mover and seconder to close the nominations for the position of chair of the board? Trustee Murphy, seconder?
I'll second that.
Trustee Guzzo. All in favor of the motion to nominate Trustee DeRosa for the position of chair of the board for the period of December 4th, 2018 to the first board meeting in December 2019. And we can go by show of hands. Unanimous. Congratulations, Chair DeRosa. Mr. Chair, do you wish to address the meeting?
Yes. Thank you. You know, I prepared a few notes, but certainly not with the assumption that the end result will be what it is. Nevertheless, I am honored by the trust and confidence that my colleagues around the state have put in me. Thank you for your support and congratulations to all of you again for well-deserved wins. Let us remember always that our electorate has entrusted the welfare of our children and their education in us. A humbling mandate that I know we will all carry out with care, passion, and dedication. I know that each of us comes to the board with individual interests and objectives. I commit to you, my fellow trustees, that I will support and help you achieve your goals to the best of my capabilities and for the benefit of the whole school board within the boundaries of our statutory obligations and with the transparency and accountability we all committed to. Some of us come with a long history of parent involvement. Others simply have children, grandchildren, and family members who are in the system. Some of us know the school system better than the others, and some come from industry and business leadership experience. Our learning curve will be different, but I believe that our similarities, as well as our differences, will make us stronger. Whatever our personal reasons for embarking on this journey, the single most important thing that binds us with parents, church, and school is the deep care for our students. So as we work together, there will be times when we will find ourselves on the opposite side of an argument. That's when we need to remind ourselves that we are here for the well-being of our students and the preservation of Catholic education now and for many generations to come. In closing, I want to recognize Director Pat Daly, his senior administration staff, Rosie, for instance, Andrea, Roxanne, and many others who I have met, not yet met, but know that they are working silently in the background to make the transition as seamless as possible for all of us. A special thanks to Father Kahn for his valuable counsel and many others who have volunteered their experience and advice along the way. Thank you. It will be my honor to serve you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next item of business is the election of the Vice Chair of the Board for period December 4th, 2018 to the first board meeting in December 2019. Should a vote by secret ballot become necessary this evening, our student trustees will act as scrutineers, while Superintendent DeVoy and myself tabulate the ballots. According to our board bylaws, a nomination motion for the position of vice chair of the board must be duly moved and seconded and received by the secretary of the board. I ask for nominations to come forward. Trustee Dworkin.
I'd like to nominate Patrick Murphy.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Carabella. Trustee Murphy, do you accept the nomination for the position of vice chair of the board?
I do.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair of the board? I'll ask a third time for nominations for vice chair of the board. Seeing no further nominations, may I request a mover and a seconder to close the nominations for the position of vice chair of the board.
I'll move to close.
Trustee Agnew. Trustee O'Brien, second. All in favor of the motion to nominate Trustee Murphy for the position of vice chair of the board for the period December 4th, 2018 to the first board meeting in December 2019. The motion is adopted. Congratulations, Vice Chair. Vice Chair Murphy, do you wish to address the meeting?
I do. It's not like me to shy away from a live microphone, Director, so I'll make it brief. I feel like a Academy Award winner who's unprepared. I didn't write an eloquent speech like my counterpart. I'd like to make 3 quick points, unless, Rosie, what time do we have the gym till? So I'm sitting down, well, I'm okay. I'd like to make 6 brief points. 3 brief points, unless I forget one, but the first is humility. Most of us is the first time that we put ourselves forward and ask people who really we don't know to vote for us, to entrust us with their child's education, and they reward us with that. So that's a very humbling experience. In addition, it's very humbling that my colleagues around the table have chosen to support me as vice chair, and I will take that role seriously, though I don't take myself that seriously, as you're probably well aware. The next is hope. Their change brings always the possibility of a little anxiety, but it also brings hope. We are a new board, and together we can accomplish great things. The last point I would like to make is about gratitude. There's very few provinces in Canada who can say that they have a publicly funded Catholic education. I'm very grateful that I live in such a province. I think we all have to be aware and good stewards that based on the fact that we are a minority and we're publicly funded, we have to excel and we have to be better to make sure that we can maintain our Catholic education system. And that's something that I'm very passionate and will strive to support my colleagues and senior staff to make sure that we can excel and we are better because we have to be. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Vice Chair Murphy. I invite our new chair of the board to come to take his position to provide for the remaining items on the agenda.
How's that for pressure? The next items on our agenda is 10.1, check signing authorities, borrowing resolutions, and investing. Roxana will speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The attached board report asks trustees to reaffirm the check signing authority levels in accordance with the Education Act, Section 170, subsection 1, included in Appendix A of the report. And it also lists in Appendix B of the report the check signing authorities and the dollar values attached, which are consistent with prior years. Trustees are also required to reaffirm the borrowing limit of up to $150 million per year to bridge the gap between when funding is received and when the expenses are incurred. The report also states that the board will engage only in investments that are eligible under Section 241 of the Education Act and Ontario Regulation 4110. Finally, the report lists the board's banker of record, which is TD Canada Trust. I'd be happy to take any questions trustees may have. Thank you.
Any questions? May I have a mover? Okay, I will read the motion. So the motion reads that the Halton Catholic District School Board reaffirm that the checks signatories identified in Appendix B to this report to be authorized to sign for and on behalf of the board for each account as indicated. And resolve that the Halton Catholic District School Board reaffirm Board Resolution 194-18 with respect to bylaws number 2018 F06 to authorize borrowing during any fiscal year period to $150 million until provincial grants, municipal tax, and other revenues are received as contained in Appendix C to this report. May I have a mover? Trustee Duarte moves. May I have a seconder? Trustee Agnew seconded. All in favor? Motion carries. Next is 10.2, board policies for a former board. I call Director Daly to provide us with some information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The creation of good policies is perhaps the most important role of our trustees. It can be a long process and a trying process, but certainly the benefits justify the effort in policy making. The ongoing monitoring and regular evaluation of policy ensures that our board will continue to fulfill its purpose.
I will now read the motion. Whereas it is necessary for Halton Catholic District School Board to set policy with regards to the day-to-day operations of its affairs, and whereas the board has from time to time set such policies and it deemed expedient to do so, be it resolved that all such policies will have been set by the board in the past are hereby approved as the official policies and procedures of this board until such time as they are varied by the board. May I have a mover? Trustee Caraballo moves. May I have a seconder? Trustee Antonacci seconds. All in favor? Motion carries. Next is 10.3, Board Procedural Bylaws. I call Director Daly to provide us with some information.
Our procedural bylaws are designed to guide the work of the Board of Trustees to be open, to be efficient, to be respectful, and responsive to our Catholic members.
I now will read the motion. Be it resolved that the procedural bylaws Appendix A be adopted as presented. May I have a mover? Trustee Murphy moves. May I have a seconder? Trustee Antonacci seconds. All in favor? Motion carries. Expression of appreciation. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to Father Khan and the Honorable Mr. Justice Joseph Farragemi on behalf of the board. Give appreciation. We switch.
Yeah, Father wants to take.
All right. Adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Guzzo. Moved by. Trustee Guzzo, seconded by. Trustee O'Brien. All in favor? Thank you. I now ask Father Khan to lead us in a closing prayer. Father Khan.
As the flame of hope begins to burn, let the promise of the ages shine in our hearts. Excuse me. As the great star shone so long ago in Bethlehem. Let your spirit burn in our hearts, Lord. Let your light shine in our world. And as we wait through the Advent season for the birth of the Messiah, let your star of hope lead us to the people and places where we can bring hope and joy through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Everyone is now invited to join us in the atrium for some refreshments. Thank you.